What's going on, everybody? So in this video, I'm going to talk about the one thing I probably get asked more than anything else, which is what is the best college degree or major for a data science career? Now, I can't give one single answer to this that's going to work for absolutely everybody, but what we're going to do here is we're going to look at a survey done by 365 Data Science. So they did research into 1,001 data scientists from all around the globe over the years 2018 to 2020. Now, the findings from this are really interesting, so we're going to talk about that. Then I'm going to give you some overall principles behind selecting a degree and just how the knowledge from that is going to translate into a data science job in the first place. Please note, I'm not a professional career advisor. This video is for entertainment purposes and to hopefully give you some useful food for thought. If this is your first time here, my name is Richard. Subscribe to my channel for all kinds of content just like this if you haven't already, and hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Now, if we look just at the year 2018, notice a lot of these people are pretty new on the job, right? They have between 0 and 12 months of experience, or maybe 1 to 2 years. Well, the most common area of study appears to be computer science. That's pretty closely followed by stats and math. That's followed by econ and social sciences. And now this one actually kind of surprised me, but it's pretty consistent with what a lot of you guys are telling me, because a lot of you guys, you come from econ backgrounds and you ask, does it make more sense to transition into another field? But appears that econ in general is one of the most common fields for breaking into data science. Then there's a pretty noticeable drop-off. The next most common one is data science and analysis. So that's all pretty interesting. But if we go over to the year 2019, notice there's a little bit of a drop-off for stats and math. It's fallen to the number 3 spot behind econ and social sciences. And computer science is still in the number 1 spot. But then things get really interesting when we look at the year 2020. So in this year, data science and analysis skyrockets to the number 1 spot as an area of study. Computer science is still number 2 behind that, ahead of stats and math or econ and social sciences. But this is really interesting. And now my first thought upon looking at this might be, well, data science is such a new field of study. It might have taken until the year 2020 just for people to get those degrees and for that to be reflected in the workplace. But no, because even if you look at these people with like 3 to 5 years of experience, data science and analysis is still in the number 1 spot here. So this to me was absolutely fascinating. So that's all well and good. If you're able to get a data science degree, you're likely to develop a pretty multidisciplinary set of skills that's going to pay enormous dividends for you as you launch your career. Here's the problem though. So here in the US, and I'm sure the situation is similar in countries like the UK or India, for instance, not all colleges offer data science majors. So I'm not totally sure how accurate this particular blog is, and I know it's going back almost a couple years now, but they compiled a list of all the major colleges they could find that offer data science majors. And as I was scrolling through this list, there were a few high-profile colleges that stood out to me as not being on this list as offering data science majors. And some of them are pretty new, like even the school I graduated from, the University of Michigan, for instance. The data science program there is pretty new, going back to like 2015 or 2016. So all that to say, there's absolutely no guarantee the school that you want to go to, or in the US, whatever school happens to be in your state, is going to offer a data science program. Let's suppose your school doesn't offer a data science program, well, what then? Now, I actually want to start this discussion off with an anecdote. So one of the best applied data scientists and research scientists I've ever known, guy works at Google now, his compensation is in several hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. He actually came from a physics background. Now, he did get a PhD and everything, but physics is not exactly the type of degree that you think of the things you learn in that degree translating directly into data science. And I think for the most part, he would probably agree with you. But here's the thing. He considered that degree to be one of the best decisions he'd ever made because he said the degree helped him to problem solve and just to critically think and solve unstructured problems so well. And that's the thing. If you look at any of these top degrees, so things like data science, computer science, stats, math, econ, social sciences, engineering even, in all of these degrees, that's exactly what you're doing. You're solving challenging, often unclear, unstructured types of problems, and you're just building those muscles in your brain to be able to do that. And so that's why, honestly, with a lot of these degrees, you're not really going to go wrong. Your path might look a little less linear, it might be a little bit different from others, but either way, if you want bad enough to develop the skill sets for data science and you come from any of these backgrounds, you're going to be able to. But then a lot of people, even if they haven't launched their careers off yet, they're familiar with the conceptualization of data science being at the intersection of stats and computer science. Granted, communication and domain expertise work into that too, but that's neither here nor there. So they'll ask the question, which is a better program, stats or computer science, if you absolutely have to pick one? Now, my answer to that one is going to be a little bit biased because I come from a stats background myself, but if I had to absolutely pick between those two, I would go with the stats. And the reason for that is, I would rather be a data scientist who's strong at stats but a little bit weaker on computer science than the other way around. Because let's think about it. If you have that stats background, you know the fundamentals, you know models, so you know different ways to attack problems, and you know how to interpret results. Sure, you don't necessarily know all the CS fundamentals and algorithms out there, but you can pick up SQL, you can pick up R or Python. You're going to be pretty employable. On the other hand, though, if you're strong at computer science, but you don't know statistics at all, or you're weak in that, it's easy for you to get into the territory I like to call data pseudoscience. You know what I mean? That is, you can start misinterpreting things, not knowing the right ways to approach problems, and things can get ugly. So again, you're going to be in a good position with either of these two, but again, if you have to pick one, I would go with the stats. Now, obviously, there are a number of caveats behind all of this. The first one that I'm going to point out is you should always pick a degree in something that interests you and something that you're going to like. So, for instance, with stats, if you absolutely hate stats, it's boring to you, that's not something that you should probably major in, and in fact, you probably want to rethink going into data science in the first place if that's the case for you. And then the other thing is, particularly if you're going into a data science program, it's brand new for a lot of colleges and universities, so try to make sure that your school is conducting it properly. And now for this, you might be able to do this just by gleaning through all the course requirements and descriptions, but failing that, sit down with an advisor and talk in detail about the program. If you're going into a data science program, you do need to be learning statistics, and I did a whole video on how much statistics you need for data science. I'll have that linked in the description. But in short, you should be learning probability calculations and Bayes' rule, the central limit theorem, things like the confidence interval and hypothesis testing frameworks, things like how sampling structure and bias affect problems, and then various linear modeling approaches. You need to be getting some exposure to SQL, ideally, and you should be learning one of R or Python. Preferably both, but if you learn only one of them, that's okay. Then ideally, if this program exposes you to things like linear algebra, communication and human-centered design principles, as well as machine learning, you're going to be in a good position. So at the end of the day, just do your due diligence. There are a lot of bad programs out there, and before you go dropping tens of thousands of dollars, especially if you're going into debt to do so, just do some research. So if your school does offer a data science program, that's probably going to be the best single option you can pick, but there's no one path that every data scientist must go down. And in fact, I did a video all about how you can become a data scientist with no college degree at all. Granted, a degree is going to help the vast majority of people, and some employers do require it, but it is possible to get your foot in the door without that college degree. So at the end of the day, pick something that you're going to enjoy, where you're learning skills that are going to be valuable in the marketplace, whether that's in data science, data analytics, or whatever else, and you're going to do just fine. So thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button. Please consider sharing the video, and then I'll see you all in the not so distant future. Until then, Richard on Data.